And I'll just repeat again what I just said is just a child record. Once it's been added to the foster care program, it needs, in order for accounting to do its thing, you need to have a placement record where that child is located, and then a rate history. And the rate history is going to tell the system what is the rate that should be paid per diem for that kid. Okay, and it could be set up per month. Ours, I think by default, is set up per diem. Okay, so a couple ways that you can add a placement can be done through the recent placement, or the recent placement record on the cover page if you have that. And if not, you'll have a link on the sidebar that says placements in some fashion. This is where it'll be different for different sites depending on how you guys have it set up, but you'll have a placements record. So we'll add one first. And I'll do it from here. I'm going to add a placement. And so this is a placement, like a short-term foster care placement rather than an adoption record. On the placement, we're just going to need like what family they're with. Okay, I'm in my site right now, so I'll look at your site shortly. Let's put them in with Johnny Appleseed. And I'm going to do the placement as 1/2/2020 so that we've got some months to look at how this works, right? We'll have January and February and March because it's April. Okay. You can set the placing authority. Time's going to go by really funny now. Yep. And what placement type? Okay. I don't think any of these things matter. The part that matters is the placing authority. It may be labeled as county in your site, and that's who's paying this rate for this youth. Okay. And we'll look at it in your site also. All right. Press save. And now I have a placement record. So this is taking me to like the placement details screen. That's how my site is set up. But I'm going to go to the overview so that we can look at just this placement record here. Okay, so we know it's been there for 96 days. That's fine. On the cover page, now I'm going to go back to this screen that says child accounting details. And we got to make sure there's a rate history. So in my system, there is some auto action or something enabled that is creating a rate history record. I do think it's on a through an auto action. We can kind of verify that and verify what's going on in your site too. But this is the first rate history record. So it should start on the date of the child's first placement. And then it can have no rate end date, like if you don't know it. It's only important to have a rate end date when this youth has been in care for such an extended period, or where rates change. It actually doesn't matter if it's been an extended period of time or not. It's just if the rate is going to change, like you have a new contract with the state and it now is at a different rate for that level of care. Okay. So the field that is a level of care is a number field, which I'm not sure where your foster care program is, but it may or may not be a number scale. Okay. So,
we're in Colorado.
And so you have like A, B, C, D, E. What do you have?
It's just a flat rate now across the board, $36.36 a day that every foster kid is paid.
Okay. All right. So I am going to change. And now that's for the foster home payment or the administrative payment? Like
That's the foster home.
Okay.
Where their families get paid.
Okay. Cool. So I'm going to do 36.30 here. And then I assume that your agency will get a per diem for this work as well.
Yep.
Okay. Do you know what that is?
It's like 56 and change, so we'll just say 56.12.
Okay. All right. So gotcha. I did 02 and I think that's fine. You can always go and update it. Okay. So there are ways that we can do settings in the back to like automate this entry, but you can see it can be manually done also. Very easy. So what a lot of people are using, because the numerical level of care is not well, it's used in some states, but not every state. We have this other placeholder field for Minnesota uses what they call MAPC. Don't even know what it stands for. That's just what it is. But it's a way to designate the type of care. But for you guys, it's like default, right? Everybody's getting this. It doesn't matter what their treatment plan says or anything like that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now that we've got the placement in and the rate history, every month at the first of the month or whenever you guys are going to run the Care Payments Hub, you'll go in and run the Care Payments Hub. So we could run, you'll probably choose run for March. You might choose run for the last 3 months. This would do what, March, February, January, okay, for 3 months. And so it's those three. You also have options under advanced options to trigger an overwrite once a youth has a care payment record, to fix a record of a specific care payment if it what if like the rate changed retroactively, something like that. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and run it for the last 3 months. And this may take a little bit. It won't take me forever because I don't have tons of records in. But until Brad, our child record, has a care payment, we can't overwrite just for his. So we'll give a couple minutes for it to do the processing that takes. Cool. That was relatively quick. And so I'm going to go back. I'm on the accounting page, and I'm going to refresh this page. And now we've got different payment amounts. So depending on the number of days that kid was in care for that particular month, which in our case, it was almost all days except for January. It was most of the month, but I didn't do it on the 1st. And we've got different rates, okay? So Sam is dividing this between the foster home, the administrative payment, if there were any respite payments, and then additional payments, like if you had a clothing allowance that was given to this for this child.
Perfect.
Okay. And so here you can make up what you want. If I would recommend, if you edit this list, I wouldn't delete anything, just disable things that think you're not using. Okay. This payment date on this is like when it is due. So this is like a month after it became applicable or something, whatever it is, right? It's the day that it came due. The payment sent is when it would be sent to that foster family. The bill to is when it's billed to the county. Okay. And so you end up with these different payments. From each of the payments. So this is the foster home for March. It's now April, whatever. You can say you have sent this $1,100, $1,125.30, using this field that just says, hey, this has actually been sent to that foster family. So you no longer owe anything for that. To that family, you guys have made that check. Okay, that is creating a record here as well. And you could certainly add in here check number, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's see, if it were not paid in full. So let's go back to the accounting details, and let's say that, let's say that the level of care, you now know April 7th, that actually it's not $36.30 and it's $37. You would go in here and fix this. Okay, so you're changing it. It changes, it's the rate history, because really, if it's retroactive, it's going back to the first time that child received any payments for their care, right? So we're correcting this record. We're not adding a new record. Okay, then we would go back to the Care Payments Hub, and we'll rerun for the last 3 months. In this case, we could have also at this point gone back and done manually trigger and overwrite for a specific interval and chosen the child. So we could do that again, just so you see it. It's going to feel pretty well identical to this. All right, the same process. If I refresh that, you can see now we have a balance. So what's important in SAM is that you track at minimum that payment sent out. If it depends on how much you're going to use. If you're going to use this for invoicing a county, that you've got to put in how much that check that you've received as well. So it's only any database in the whole world is going to be like whatever you track is what you should be able to pull out. So you got to be able to put both of those things in here. So that's where I would go back into here and say, okay, I now my payment is $21.70 when I know that that's due. Now I'm going to go and send this as well. So I'm adding a new payment sent of that $21 when we know that that's due to the family. Okay. Oops. Z, put the date, and we're going to do check number. Okay, so you can start to hold records. We could certainly, if you want, I feel like a check number field could be added if you want something separate, okay? Right, the bill received is going to be the same thing. Again, this is the what is paid from the county, because they may say, I'm only paying $1,000 on this, and then you guys are like constantly billing them, okay, for that. This is a field, if you never want Sam to do any recalculations on this on this care payment record, you can click this, so it will stop redoing it if for some reason you need that to not happen again. All of these have been done. Let's say that it changes from, I'll show you the other way. Okay, so we now have a different rate all the way from January, and go to the care payment hub and manually trigger an overwrite. And this I can say, I'm going back to January, but I'm going to show advanced options here and say it's only for Brad Jenkins. And I could say, I only want to go back for this interval, right? This would just do January. If I leave it unchecked, it's going to be January, February, and March. So it'll re-update, recalculate for all of that. Okay. So it's really easy to do. It's just sort of like hidden because you don't do it. I think people do it a lot though that are using this system. They'll do it for one kid at a time. Right. So we have another balance due. Okay. Okay, so that's that. I think that the other thing that people do, this is the Johnny, right? So this is who the youth is with. Let me add a case for this guy. I didn't realize that he has no case. That's good enough, I think, just so it starts to feel the same. Under the foster family, there are placements, so we should be able to see this kid in there. And this guy's actually got two, so it's shown here and it's shown here. Okay, 2 active youth. If we go over to the accounting details, they should have, for the family, it's a little bit different looking than the kids. The kids, it's very specific to what type of care payment it is, right? On the foster family, they may have multiple kids, so this is broken into like, what month are we talking about? Okay, so let's look at March. And we should see care payment records for both kids because there's actually 2 active kids. At least that's what it says. Okay, so there's Brad and Jackson. Okay, so whatever this kid's rate was, it's there. You can see that the payment was sent, the different net amounts, and this will get you to the screen that we've been looking at a lot, which is the care payment detail screen. It gets very specific. This looks to me like that looks like a green color up there, the foster care color tab. So it's the view from the foster parent side versus the child side, but it's pretty similar. The payment breakdown, how it was calculated, the payments that have been sent, and there's still a net amount. So that we would know in reports that, again, it's dependent on you guys entering that the payment has been sent to the family in order for Sam to do a good net amount tracking for you, so you know what else you have to pay. Or again, on the side of the county or the state or whoever is the placing authority that's making the payment, same thing for them as far as what payments you've received. Try to think. Okay, so then, the other thing that I think people do a lot is create a template that shows the monthly statement for the family. Okay, so I don't know if you have this one in your Nightlight site because Nightlight's had their site so long. By default, it comes today, but we can help you set that up. I can totally give you most of this. The one thing we'll want to do is build a report and pull that report on. Okay, so this is showing foster home payments. I think that this report is set up to like foster home payments where the net amount is greater than 0, and then it's summing it all up. And this would be like, yeah, we're giving you this payment. And of course, generally it's not going to be this high. It's going to be a quarter of this because this is just showing so many months, right, since November 19th or whatever. We've got ours broken down into respite payments, the other types of payments, and then some agencies use like respite credits to calculate how many days or how many nights a foster family can get respite for that youth. If you're not using this, I mean, I don't know yet how your team is using it. So this can be disabled or hidden or whatever. Okay, and certainly like your logo will be there, things like that won't need to be here. And then you can email this to the family. You could print it, send it. I'm not really sure how you guys anticipate doing that part.
Yeah, I definitely would like to be able to send them some sort of like statement. That would
Okay.
be huge.
Okay. Cool. And I think the only other thing I should just show you, just so that you can see it, is then again from the county side, should be able to see it from here. And it happens to be the same agency for both of these kids, which is kind of nice that we'll be able to see somebody familiar. Under the organization record, then there's accounting. And here it'll start to calculate everything that like has been paid or needs to be paid by this county for all time immemorial. It's showing though here like per month. Okay. And so what this will be on the organization side is more, it's going to be every youth that's under this organization, right? Because there's way more than just the 1,500 or something that was due for those 2 kids. These are all the kids that are rolling up under March for this organization and their specific care payment records. You can see it's also broken down into the admin payment versus the foster home payment. So you're almost getting 2 for each kid. And our kid here, I don't remember our kid's name anymore. Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's Brad Jenkins.
Brad, yep.
It's Brad and Jackson. I was looking at the foster family and I couldn't place it. So yeah, so it's Brad and Jackson. And it's kind of interesting, like Sam isn't so it's things that you'll need to check. This same kid, what appears to be the same kid to me, is actually placed in 2 different homes. But that's because our sample data is awful. Like it's hard to keep up with what's right and what's wrong when we're just rushing through some creating stuff on the spot like this. That's why sometimes I like to start from a new fresh kid, but then there's missing data and stuff, whatever. So anyways, that's why there's 2, but it will be something to check. All these things are pullable on reports, so you can pull every bit of it using, let's look at that, the table structure. So it's going to depend on how you want to see, like from which side do you want to see this? Are you looking at things relating to the organization, the agency that you're going to bill to, or are you looking to pull monthly statements, or do you want to look at things from the kids side because you want to make sure you're getting like all the details in? Okay, so it's going to depend.
Yeah, I think we would be most interested in on the family side more.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to make sure that we're paying families the correct amount, depending on the number of kids that are in the homes, and sending out those monthly statements.
Okay, so the table structure should be the same in Nightlight. Is you've got accounting details, and so you would build a report based off that. The account payable is what AP stands for, and then pulling in these care payments. As far as seeing like the breakdown, this is where it can sort of get a little complicated, meaning like we may have to fiddle with the reports a little bit to get them to be what you want, like because I think it's new for you guys, so you're going to need to go like build what you can, come try and use it, see where things go wrong or what else you need, rather, if that makes sense. Okay.
It does. Yep.
Okay, so you kind of need these things. And I don't wait. Account payable and then foster home payments. Ooh, might be It might be more like this one. I'm sorry, I'm seeing this and like, okay, what's that? But it might be these that are here. And this is where it honestly gets a little confusing for me until I see the data pulled in and then I'm like, that's what, of course you need that. That makes sense. Let's cut here.